Do you remember years ago, there was a One Piece fanimation fight of Luffy versus Kaido. And it was done by, I recall, Studio Loki and a few of the guys as well that worked on this whole fan animation. And it was pretty fun seeing their take on Monkey Jesus, Luffy versus Warororo, Lancey in there. Kaido is allegedly the strongest. But at the end of this fight of the two-parter, they had Nightmare Luffy, because Mori comes in, he gives Luffy shadows, you have Nightmare Luffy, and then Nightmare Luffy uses Haki, but his Haki, this hardening Haki, is actually gold. It is golden arm Haki hardening. Well, it looks like, genuinely so, golden Haki is real. Like the One Piece wa, which by the way, do not search that on Twitter. Please don't do it. That is a mistake, I promise you that. But like the One Piece in the actual story, it is genuinely real. So before the film read special episodes of One Piece, episode 1027 and mainly 1028 showcase the Conqueror's Haki infusion, which is gold. If you want to see my live reaction to the episodes, you go on my Patreon, of course, for the entire thing, unedited. But if you want to see the edited version for free, that's on my Kingu-san channel. Link in the box below to both reactions, both 1027 and 1028. Now, episode 1027 is when Zoro does the Asura's Dead Man game. It was animated by TT Tanel, Yen BM, and Yoshihiko Umakoshi. And so when Zoro pulls out the Asura's Dead Man game, he is cladded in a golden aura, like looking very majestic, like some sort of ancient Chinese deity. And then after the attack, when Kaido asks Zoro the question of, hey, hold on, you have Conqueror's Haki, we actually see a yellow lightning spark that goes over Zoro's sword. So that was the first clear indication that Conqueror's Haki infusion moving forward was gonna be gold. Then we have, of course, episode 1028, where Luffy has the golden energy on his body when he starts doing the fusion attacks. Now, in the very moment Luffy realizes that you can infuse your attacks with Conqueror's Haki, his eyes flash gold. And then the first attack of Conqueror's Haki we see against Kaido, the first clash, where it's the Sandy Owls of Monkey Jesus against Kaido's club. We do see the usual black and red lightning for Haki, but then there's also a golden gap of space that's animated between Kaido's club and Luffy's Sandy Owls, animated by none other than the GOAT, Naotoshi Shida, my man. And then, after that, we do see a lot of great shots that incorporate this golden aura. So, for example, we have Luffy going to like the 8th gate, covered in this crimson golden aura, and then we have him clash with Kaido's Dragon Club. Like, it's kind of crazy. Animated by Vincent Chansard. Then we have Naotoshi going for a repeat, where we do see him showcase the flow of Haki being utilized by Luffy. And then finally we have Shu Sugita, who popped off with that nasty final uppercut, that Luigi class uppercut by Luffy, the crazy effects, Kaido's cup goes flying, and so on and so forth. And for that entire thing, the gold is cladded around Luffy's body, and Luffy's actually controlling said golden Haki. So it looks like, once again, Conqueror's Haki infusion, based on the anime, is a gold aura that is mixed with other types of Haki, like hardening armor Haki or Ryo/advanced Ryo armor Haki hardening, and the golden aura itself can also be manipulated. Now, it also looks like, moving forward with the anime, episode 1031 we see in the trailer, where they're going to stick to the golden effects. Yes. Now, depending on your preference, you may or may not like the actual aesthetic choice of the golden Haki, because it is it is pretty flashy. At some points in episode 1028, when Luffy's going in, it's almost like flashes of just pure golden light. It's like turning on Discord on bright mode in a dark room. It's not healthy. It's like Kizaru pointing two fingers in your face and just blinding you. Yeah, I can understand where the effects were sometimes kind of hard to read, and ultimately some folks would say it's over the top. But hold on, that's kind of the point though, right? Wano Country, among all the arcs so far in One Piece, is by far and away the best animated arc on a regular basis. So many scenes are over the top. And I'm cool with that. I am very, very cool with that. But I think also there is a fundamental purpose for the golden aura to exist. Not saying it's confirmed, but I think you could argue, yeah, fundamentally, it makes sense if there is golden aura for Conqueror's Haki. The first front is from the anime perspective. So when you go at the anime itself, in this arc, we actually see various moments where the color gold is being used for Haki-related stuff. Like, for example here, in the Udon Prisoner Mines, in episode 937, Luffy does knock out a few of these guys with a golden Conqueror's Haki flash. Then later on, when we jump to Roof Piece in episode 1018, when Enma is going nuts and Zoro is about to do the Black Robe Dragon Twister, we actually see Henry Thurlow animate a few scenes with Zoro kind of being cladded in gold as Enma is just, again, going insane. And at the very beginning of Wano Country Anime, episode 893, at the very beginning, when Luffy knocks out Himaru, the giant baboon, we see golden flashes and like a golden Haki wave pulsating from Luffy when he makes Himaru submit with his Conqueror's Haki. So we have seen time and time again the golden Haki waves for Conqueror's Haki on the part of Luffy when he's using regular Conqueror's Haki. So then the infused version is just that same Conqueror's Haki aura, but it's being condensed and focused not in waves outside the body, but more so around the body itself, like an aura. And Luffy can control that aura via the flow, Rio, and that kind of stuff. And then so if we apply the same logic to Zoro in episode 1018, this would mean that Zoro is using Conqueror's Haki infusion when he does use the Black Robe Dragon Twister against Kaido. Now, how is the question, and the answer I think is very clearly Enma. I've said before in several videos, but I think that Enma is the reason why Zoro can right now utilize Conqueror's Haki, where Enma does draw out the Conqueror's Haki from within Zoro, and he was utilizing that throughout the entire rooftop fight. And seeing that golden aura around Zoro before the Black Robe Dragon Twister does, I think, validate that idea. Because when Zoro does that, Kaido's talking about Enma, how he's finally realized that this is Oden's sword, Enma. So that is the first viewpoint, the anime viewpoint. The second viewpoint is actually a manga viewpoint, where the anime is adding extra details for clarification purposes compared to the manga, where those details are nowhere near as clear. Now, that sounds Looney Tunes. That sounds insane. Like, I myself, King of Lightning is going Gear 5. I'm going nuts. Because, hold on now.
Hold up.
Clarification in the anime? What do you mean? Because we've seen time and time again the anime do different things. Like, for example, we see Goldie, Roger, and Whitebeard having their clash, and there's no gold involved at all. Not a single time. Not a single time. And then, of course, Kaido himself has infusion, but his color scheme is more like a royal purple whitish lightning, plus the red and black Haki effects we normally see. So it seems to be relatively inconsistent, which I would agree with you. But I think moving forward, it's gonna be gold for the most part. Where we do see in the anime, next episode trailers, where Big Mom's eyes are kind of like shining gold. And it should be the episode where she goes into mother mode. Oh, I'm looking forward to mother mode, yay! But it looks like moving forward, that's gonna be the standard. And then, there is an issue, I think, fundamentally, with leaving it just red and black lightning, but there's a gap from time to time. And this issue comes from the manga mainly. Because remember this moment in the manga, 1010, there was a very big question that folks had, even up until 1045, when Luffy is going hard to Gear 5, and then Kamsov says that Luffy is cladded in both Armored Haki and Conqueror's Haki. But the issue from Chapter 1010 moving forward was every time Luffy is using Conqueror's Haki infusion, is Luffy also using Rio Haki, the advanced Rio Haki that he actually trained with Hilgoro? The problem with Oda, and how he actually draws both Armored Haki and Conqueror's Haki sometimes, is that they look the same. They look the same. That's why a lot of folks believe that Black Lightning that we see in the manga is not just Armor Haki anymore, but now it's Conqueror's Haki. So some folks do believe that Jinbei has Conqueror's Haki, because we see during his fight against Who's Who, Jinbei does emit these black lightning sparks. So stylistically, because they both have very similar effects, it does get somewhat confusing. And the only real key distinction between the two is when someone applies it thoroughly to their body, so we see like a giant chain of lightning in the manga. So we see it on Kaido's club, we see it on Luffy's fist, on Big Mom's fist, on Yamato's fist, on Zoro's swords, where it's that distinct lightning chain that we see. And it seems to be thicker and more present. But, like, honestly, stylistically, it's really not that much of a difference from a lot of the Armor Haki stuff. It's really not. And that's why, again, so many folks believe that Jinbei, Sanji, Katakuri, way back when Doflamingo or Don Chinjao, we've seen all these black sparking things where Armor Haki hardening, but as far as we know, none of these cats have actual Conqueror's Haki infusion. Dofi and Chinja have Conqueror's Haki, but not an infusion. And this is also the core reason why a lot of folks believed that Luffy, during the fight against Kaido, was not using Ryo Haki anymore, what he had learned in Udon, and instead was just purely using Conqueror's Haki infusion. A lot of people, for a long period of time, believe that. I think even to this day, some folks believe that. But this is where the anime does slide in, simply and out-argue effectively. The anime is like, you know what? Let's just clear it up by making it gold. The color scheme is far more clearer. And now we have Luffy with the Golden Globe aura. From now on, the Golden Globe aura. And it makes sense. It makes sense because also in the anime, the Ryo Haki flow is also at times denoted to by this reddish crimson aura on his fist, but also with Sakura petals. Haki-like energy Sakura petals. Now, he's seen being used a few times with the Ryo Haki / advanced Ryo Haki that Luffy does. So when we see the golden Sakura petals around Luffy when Kaido and him clash in episode 1028, that means, that clarifies, even more so than the manga ever could, that Luffy is stacking his Conqueror's Haki infusion on top of the Ryo Haki flow that he learned from Hyogoro. And this flow thing is even more distinct in the second scene that Naotoshi Shida worked on, because you actually see the golden Haki flow within Luffy actually go from his body through his fist into Kaido's body. Kaido gets hit in the gut, and then it permeates into Kaido's body, clarifying even more so that Luffy is stacking Conqueror's Haki infusion on top of his Ryo Haki skills. The anime's aesthetic choices clear up the discrepancies in the stylistic choice that the manga has between Conqueror's Haki infusion and Armor Haki stuff, which I think is nice. I think that's very, very nice.
Nice.
So once again, moving forward with the anime, this appears to their choice for Conqueror's Haki infusion. Will it still be inconsistent? Yes, obviously. There are various animators at a time working on One Piece, and each one has their own different styles. But if the general consensus moving forward is let's make Conqueror's Haki a goldish Haki, so it's more visually distinct than the manga, clearly by spades, and this confusion that manga owners have with Conqueror's Haki infusion won't exist, at least they shouldn't exist, for the anime-only watchers of One Piece, I think that's a good-ass call. Hell yeah! So once again, I support the Golden Globe aura. I support the Golden Monkey Jesus Luffy.